I'm going to record this in case, people want to see it later on.
Oh, that's great. I was going to ask you to do that and I forgot about it.
Okay.
So it says I have to click got it. It says this meeting is being recorded by the host.
I wonder what happens if you don't click got it. Does it not record? I'm not too sure about
All
that.
right, I'm going to click got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I did. And
Good.
it went off and it went back to the Magyar aura.
All right.
I think that's just a disclaimer.
I think you're right. I think it continues to record. Yeah.
So who else besides, I know Joe Sipigora is supposed to come. She's going to come, I think.
Right. I don't know who Creature Comfort is.
Me neither.
We'll find out in a minute.
Oh,
I'll put my real name here. Hold on.
so Gabor, if we do really well, will you pay for a trip for us to go to Hungary with you?
I can say with absolute certainty, if you do that well, I will pay for it, but there's no chance of that. There's no chance of that.
No chance. Are you going sometime soon?
I'm not, but you know who is going is Diane Kozlow.
Really?
Yeah, she's going to be taking a trip to Bulgaria and Romania, and I'm very, very hopeful that she'll be able to meet up with our partner church minister.
Oh, because I'm very good friends with her. I didn't know she was going there.
And I invited her today. Hopefully she'll come. If not, then that's okay. She didn't pay for the event, but I mean, I invited a number of people who didn't pay for the event. Like I invited Joel Miller, Reverend Miller, and I invited Nick Walwork and Diane. Who else? Well, anybody who's in the partner church committee. That's why Steve is here. Lily Keating is not going to be here, but her sister is. Does anybody know? Oh, there's Diane.
Diane coming in.
Great. Does anybody know Lily's sister?
No.
All right. Well, we're going to meet her in a minute.
Diane. Oh, there's Joe. Wait, is that her? Sipigora? Do I see that cute face?
Yeah.
Okay, what else can I do here? That I can get, start video. Okay. Well, why is that not working?
You're on. I see your face.
See me, but I don't see anybody on the big screen though.
Huh. Well, you're not going to
That's
see the big screen because I'm sharing my screen. So the best you'll see is a small gallery off to the side.
Oh, okay.
Because I do have slides. And as a matter of fact, I think everybody who paid for the event is here. So I think we should start the lesson. And we got Steve as a guest because he's on the partner church committee. And Lily said that her sister, Lily can't make it, but she said her sister was coming. And I'm very curious about that. I don't know that I've ever met her sister. So hopefully she will show up. So let's get started. This is an outline now. I've planned it for an hour and a half. I really don't know if we're going to make it. Hopefully, we'll be approximately the right amount of time. But I don't know. This is the first time I'm doing this.
Forgive me for telling you now, but I have to leave at 8 o'clock because I have an appointment. Okay, sorry. I would love to stay till the end.
If people want to stop at 8, then maybe do a second session and to finish it or something. Whatever people want to do is fine with me. I don't care.
Whatever.
And I'm probably just stay for the first part to learn about the connection with the church.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay. That's good, Diane. Thank you. So here's an outline of things. I'm not going to go over it now. Just, give you a brief sense as where we're going.
Very quickly, Gabor, I ran into a couple of PDFs that said you are forbidden to open them or read them. And one was the letter from Paul Ratzlaff, and the other one was either before it or just after it. I'm not sure. Yeah, and maybe it was the map, but I saw the map elsewhere.
Okay.
It was the letter for sure. So that one I would have liked to read the letter, but
well,
yeah, I don't think I was able to open that stuff either. I did try about a week ago.
yeah.
Okay, well that's a good comment because I thought that they were public, but maybe they're not. So I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Well, yeah, I didn't know that you could make a PDF lesson read only. You said They're
Well, but if
I
it
do
is,
request.
yes, if it's read only, then you should be able to read it. So I don't know why.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, just let you know. That's all.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Thanks. So here's the item that you people bought. And I'm kind of curious, maybe we can go around
What's
the
the
room.
bird?
Pardon? A
What's
bird.
the bird? I'm sorry to interrupt. Is that a bird? The symbol instead of the chalice?
Okay, I'll explain. This is our chalice, which has got the flame and then the chalice. And now this is the Hungarian or the Transylvanian Unitarian symbol. And this is a dove of peace.
A dove.
And inside an Ouroboros, which is the snake with his tail in his mouth. And you look at take a good look at Steve. He's actually wearing the same symbols on his shirt because in previous years we were as a fundraiser we had people we were selling the embroidery, so people would give a shirt, or else in some cases I supplied the shirt, and then we would send the shirts to Transylvania, and then the ladies would embroider them with these two symbols. And the reason I like this is because this is actually, you can see how the two things have morphed. So the flame morphs into the bird, you know. So anyway, that's what that's about. So let me go back to asking the people that bought the item, just in general, what attracted you? What are you hoping to learn? Do you have any specific questions? That kind of thing. So let's go around the room. I'll call on Judy first. And please unmute yourself.
What? Wait, I don't understand the question.
Well,
I left.
just curious as to why you bought the item. That's all.
What did I? Oh, you're my item. I bought you.
You bought the lesson. You didn't buy me.
Okay,
So,
because my mother spoke Hungarian when I was a child. She was not born in Hungary. She was born in America. Her father, my grandfather, spoke like 5 languages, and one was Hungarian, one was Czechoslovakian, whatever, all German, because of the border changes. And I was teasing you the other day and said, Beszéd magyarul?
That's right. Beszélsz magyarul, which means, do you speak Hungarian? Exactly. So you remember that.
And one more thing. I know one other thing in Hungarian, but I don't know if you'll understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
My mother used to say to me, with her fingers shaking like this, "Olyan puffin fogsz kapni mindjárt."
Oh, olyan puffon fogsz kapni mindjárt means I'm going to give you such a slap in a minute.
Yes, yes. That's the only thing I know.
I see.
Okay, I'm done.
Well, I guess you were being a naughty little girl at the time.
No, she always said it in jest.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It was cute when she said it. Yeah.
Well, that's perfect. That's exactly the kind of thing I'm looking for. Mary Beth, would you like to tell us why you bought the item?
Sure. I'm just really interested in other cultures, and languages go with that. And I'm from Louisiana, and there are several dialects of French down there. So I'm just interested in how languages evolve into what they are and how they become, the language. So just wanted to hear this one because from what you said, it was so different. I just wanted to find out how that sounds.
Great.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, Carol.
I've never heard Hungarian. I want to hear some. I want to hear what it sounds like. And also I just love linguistics. I love all linguistics.
Okay, great. Thank you. Joe?
First thing is I like to support all of the service auction items, so I tend to overbuy. I also have absolutely no familiarity with Hungarian. The closest might be Polish, but it's not really. So I want to hear it, just like Carol. I want to be able to recognize it. Maybe even a greeting, but I don't run into too many. I very rarely run into Hungarian speaking people. A little bit of Ukrainian lately because of, the war and all that. I feel I'm too old to learn it, but I have to admit I did enjoy looking at all the grammar rules and stuff and all that stuff that you sent us and seeing how different it is from the way ours is constructed, and even the Latin languages are constructed.
Okay, great.
That was fun to look at.
Okay, I'm glad you enjoyed looking at it. And Steve is here because he's in the Partner Church Committee, and I invited everybody in the Partner Church Committee to attend if they wanted. And Diana's here because she'll be going to Bulgaria and Romania in August, and we're hoping to put together a meeting with her and the Partner Church minister. So
Yeah, my wife and I spent a week in Budapest in 2018, so we We were
Oh.
originally gonna go with Gabor, and he fell ill, so we went on our own, and we met the minister's son.
Right.
He was
Yeah, you
talking
actually got to be
son.
good friends with him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
He took us
great.
around and everything. It was really nice.
Terrific.
I have a lot of questions, but I'm sure we're gonna get to that stuff, right, later.
Yeah. Well, I've got a whole presentation, and so hopefully it's
Yeah.
will satisfy you. So I want to start off by talking about our partner church in Szynfalva, Romania. And what you're looking at now is a map of old Hungary before World War I. And the green, the sort of darker green is how Hungary looked before World War I, and the lighter green on the inside is what Hungary looks like now. And so you see that Hungary, of course, was on the losing side in World War I, and they were punished very severely by having 2/3 of their territory taken away. And I'm not a historian. I don't really know if this is unprecedented or, the greatest amount of lost territory of any country has ever suffered, in a war, but it's pretty darn severe. And so the red here are Hungarians that live outside the borders of, modern day Hungary. So you see all around, of course, there's, Czechoslovakia, there's Romania. Whoops, went too far. But there's this pocket here. This is Transylvania. And so I'm not really sure why. In fact, I think I kind of do know why. There's some big pocket of Hungarians that are kind of separated from the bulk of the other Hungarians. And there's a reason that they went off to that part of Romania. But anyway, that's a Hungarian-speaking part of Romania now. I mean, after Ceausescu did a lot of damage to the Hungarian population there by dispersing people, I don't think there's any place even in Romania where it's a majority Hungarian. But there are villages, in the little villages which are majority Hungarian, and our village in Szynfalva is one of them. So here is Transylvania and other parts of Romania. This is an old map. I don't know if Moldavia and Wallachia still exist, but it gives you an idea of where some things are in Transylvania. And in particular, I want to show these two towns, Cluj and I guess in Romanian it's something like Alba Iulia, but in Hungarian it would be Gyulafehérvár. And our partner church is right between those two. And actually, if you look at this, sort of zoomed in map, there's Szynfalva. The Romanian name is Cornești, and there is Torda, right close by, like 20 kilometers away. And of course, Torda is a very important city for Unitarianism, because that was the Edict of Torda of 1568 was kind of the seminal event, I guess, in Unitarianism. And so where Diane is going to be staying, she actually has one or maybe even 2 nights in what they call Cluj. It's called Kolozsvár in Hungarian, and then the other one is in Alba Iulia, Gyulafehérvár, and somewhere in between. And actually her trip will actually stop in Torda to see the salt mine there. So that's why I'm very hopeful that we can get the minister, get a meeting with the minister set up. So this is the origin of Hungarian. I don't know if you've heard about it. The Finno-Ugric language group, the only language that Hungarian is related to are Finnish, and I guess these are kind of where's my cursor? Here it is. This is Lap, which is spoken, I guess, in Lapland, which is not a country, but it's an area in Finland. And then we got Finnish and Estonian, and then Hungarian way over here. And I don't know if any of these other languages are actually spoken now, or are these just like, ancient languages that have died out. But you can see that there is a relationship between Hungarian and Finnish and Estonian and Lap, but it's pretty remote. And so
Yeah.
certainly Hungarians and Finns can't speak to each other. They might know a couple words that have, and some grammatical structures and things are kind of similar, but as far as they're very far apart. So you'll see in a minute the kind of things that how far apart they are relative to languages that we're more familiar with. Is there a question?
Yeah, just a quick one on this. The Ugric, why does that connect to Russian in my head? Is there a connection there?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I think Russian is a Slavic language, and this has nothing to do with Slavic languages.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
think for a
Russian,
long
Russian is
time, I
in,
thought it was
Russian is in
Slavic.
Slavic language category with Polish, Czech, Slovak, all of those languages, but they're separate from Hungarian.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so this map here, this slide here shows a map of where these Finno-Ugric languages were spoken. And here is Finnish, and here is Sami, which is Lap. And as I said, I don't think there's a country. These are just people who are kind of migrants who move around, but they have a language. And then I think these are dead languages. I don't know that any of them are still spoken. And Estonian, of course, is still spoken. And then here's Hungarian way down here, really remote and separate from all these other places that have sort of related languages. And I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, but the sort of legend is that Hungarians, the Magyars came from the east, from Central Asia somewhere, and there's two brothers who are sort of co-chiefs of the tribe. And when they got to the Carpathian Basin, which is where Hungary is now, one brother said, "This is the place we're staying here," and the other brother says, "No, we're going to keep on going." And at that point, the Finns broke off, the Hungarians stayed, and the Finns kept going. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but that's a story that's told. Now, this slide shows, or is intended to give you some sense as to how difficult Hungarian is to learn for English-speaking people. And this comes from the Foreign Service Institute. Department of State, of course, has a great professional interest in teaching language. They've got language schools, and they're very, so anyway, they have these categories of how difficult languages would be to learn, how long it should take to learn to reach this speaking level 3, whatever that means. So category 1, you've got languages, that we're familiar with, French and German and Italian, and these are the easiest ones for us to learn. And in category 2 and 3, you got languages which are a little bit more alien, and then you got Hungarian here, but you got other languages like Thai and Tagalog, Swahili. So these are considered more alien, more difficult to learn, and they would give you more time to learn it. And then in category 4, which is even harder. So when I said that Hungarian is the hardest language to learn, that's actually really not true. It's not as hard as Arabic or Japanese or Korean. And I think one reason is that those languages all have different script, and you really can't learn them without learning a new alphabet. And in fact, it's not even necessarily a script. It's a whole new way of writing, because it's not necessarily letters, but pictograms. So Hungarian is very tricky and it's difficult, but it's not the most difficult language, certainly not by a long shot. And in fact, for some reason, they consider Finnish, because it's got a star by it, to be actually more difficult than Hungarian. I don't know why. Now, speaking of alphabet, there is in fact a Hungarian alphabet called runic. And as the description shows you, it's 1,000 years ago, this is how it was written, or even more than that. And then King Stephen decided to adopt the Latin alphabet, and ever since then, we've been, using the Latin alphabet. But this is, these runes existed beforehand. And one thing you can see is that it's intended, there are no curved lines anywhere. It's all straight lines. So it's easy to write if you are chipping, into stone or carving into wood. And supposedly, according to this, it's actually still used in Transylvania by the Székely Magyars, which are the people that are living, in that red area that I showed you. I've never actually seen it used, but here's an example of a road sign somewhere, and they have the Latin letters, and that would be pronounced Vonyarts Voshegy, and that's the same thing in runic letters, which I don't know. But now the Hungarian alphabet has got 44 Roman letters, and the reason it has so many letters is because the vowels all have variations where you can have and and where you have the long, so the accent there makes it long, and then you have 4 different forms of O, 4 different forms of U, 2 different forms of E, 2 different forms of I. So you have a lot more letters. I mean a lot more vowels. So those consume a number of letters. And then you also have combination letters. So for example, here after C, you got CS, and after D, you got DZ, which is a double letter, and you even have DZS, which is a triple letter. So this is considered a letter in the dictionary. All the words that begin with D come with all the words before all the words that begin with DZ, and those come before all the words that begin with DZS. But to type them, of course, you have one keystroke at a time. And this is an example of a Hungarian keyboard where you have, the ability to type all these different vowels. And then the one thing which is very confusing is that the Y and the Z are interchanged. All the other letters, the QWERTY, are where you expect them to be, but the Y and the Z are interchanged. And a funny thing happened to me a few years ago is that I had a password which I use a lot, and it had a Y in it. And I was typing my password in, I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't get it to work. And it turns out it was because somehow I switched to a Hungarian keyboard and the Y and the Z were reversed. And so I was really typing Z and not Y. And that's why I wasn't able to, make my password work. And so that took me about an hour to figure that out. And one thing which is kind of interesting, I mean, I can always switch to a Hungarian keyboard if I want to, but that takes a few keystrokes. One thing which is interesting is that Windows has got built into it. If you enable this software keyboard, that's what that looks like on your taskbar. And something like this pops up. And the reason it's cool is because if you click on, for example, the E, then it expands out, just like your phone does, into all these different variations of E, where you can pick one that has an accent on it. And so it makes it easy to just throw in, a letter which has an accent on it.
You know what I liked about the alphabet, though? It tells you how to pronounce the letter. In English, letters are pronounced different ways, and you don't necessarily know ahead of time.
That's exactly right.
You know what I'm talking about. I think everybody does. So you're getting a lot of guidance here to go from written to pronunciation.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about is exactly that point. Yeah, thank you.
So I like that part.
So one of the things that is characteristic of Hungarian, which is very different than English, is that it's an agglutinative language. And agglutinative, think glue, because words grow by means of prefixes and suffixes and even infixes. So you put letters at the end, you put letters in the beginning, and you put letters in the middle. And all these letters that you add modify their meanings. And the way English does it is we use helper words. And so you'll see an example in a minute, but I just want to say there are other agglutinative languages besides Hungarian, like Turkish, Japanese here. And as a matter of fact, I think German, I forgot to add German. I mean, German is notorious for having really long words. And the reason is because they have this agglutinative characteristic where the words grow depending on exactly, what they mean. And I believe that this is where, you've heard the phrase that, the Inuits have, 300 different words for snow. I'm sure you've heard that term or that phrase. And I think what it means is that they don't have 300 different words because those are actually phrases. Those are actually descriptions of a particular kind of snow. Maybe it's wet snow, maybe it's dry snow, maybe it's, hard packed snow or whatever. And things that would be separate words, or actual phrases in English to describe a very specific kind of snow is actually a single word in a language like Inuit. Okay, so what do I mean by agglutinative? I mean, here's an example of that. So the word for house is haz. And if you want to say my house, well, you use the word haz, it stays, black, and I add the red letters. So my house is hazom.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to say my houses, now you want to make it plural. And by the way, note that in this case, English is also being agglutinative because if you want to make a plural, you don't use a helper word, you just add an S.
Mm.
So in this case, but in Hungarian, you say haz stays the same, the M comes down, so that's black, but now the O becomes an A and you add an I. So now if you want to say my houses, you say hazaim. And if you want to say in my houses, like, where do you keep your furniture? Well, I keep my furniture in my houses. Well, you would say a hazaim bun. That's one word that means in my houses. And so you see the point that you can add all kinds of there's all kinds of rules and about what these different letters do, but you can just make the words essentially as long as you want. I mean, it's very artificial, but there's really no limit. I mean, there's a practical limit to how long a word can be and be useful, but there's no actual strict limit. So here's the word. I don't think anybody ever uses it, but it's 44 letters long, and it would be pronounced meg sent shig telenit hetet len shigesh kedesh edi tekiet, which means some stupid thing. It's very, artificial. Just somebody wanted to create a long word. And here's another guy who created a word of 119 letters, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce. But it's not particularly useful. But, useful Hungarian words are maybe 15, 20 letters long sometimes.
I didn't understand when I looked at this. I didn't understand the purpose of it. If you can make a word with 119 letters, where's the need for the sentence? Where does it stop? I mean, I can understand for a phrase.
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't.
There is no use for a word this long. I mean, maybe you can have really long words that mean something very, very specific in a technical setting of some kind, but
I was just wondering if a teacher would mark that incorrect with a student.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's all legitimate.
Okay.
It's just not useful. It's not incorrect.
All right.
So one of the reasons that you do this agglutination is because you conjugate nouns and adjectives and not just verbs. So in English, we conjugate our verbs, but we don't conjugate our nouns and our adjectives. But in Hungarian, you do. So for example, let's go, now we're talking about lakás, which means apartment, not house, but it's a similar word. So you say lakás is the root word. And if you want to say my house, as I showed you before, it's OM. I guess Diane has dropped away. Okay. So that means my house because it's first person singular. But if you want to say your house and you're using the familiar form of address, which we'll get to in a minute, but it would be te lakásod. So instead of OM, it's OD, and this means second person singular. And if you want to say his house, which is third person singular, you would say lakásá. It's an A and not an OM, and it's not an OD. And so, all the different parts of speech, first, second, third person singular, first, second, third person plural, all have different endings. And, you have to know these endings if you want to speak correctly. And there's many, many noun cases. So we use cases, but we can't identify them because we don't really, the grammar is not, on our surface. I mean, if you're a linguist or if you're a person who's learning English as a second language, you would know some of these cases, but a person who just speaks English, naturally, we don't know the names of them, but they exist. Now in Hungarian, in English, there's maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 or something like that, but in Hungarian, there's actually many more. And this has an implication for this agglutinative strategy. So, for example, accusative case is direct object of verbs. They also hear something called iliative, which means in or into. You have elative, which is out of, and so on. Ablative, which is away. And so all these things which would be phrases in English using helper words are modifications to the root word, and they modified the meaning of the word. So here are some examples. If you want to say I am going into the house, so that's the into, that's the illative case. You would say ahaz ba megyek. BA is the illative case. Okay, I'm going to the house. Ahaz hoz megyek. I am inside the house. Ahaz ban vagyok. I am coming from the house. Ahaz tol jövök. I am going as far as the house. Ahazig megyek. I am borrowing money for the house. Ahaz élet kérek pénzt. I am staying dry with the house. It has all maradok száraz. So all these different things that you're trying to express involving a house, all these different phrases that have different meanings are the same root word, just modified using a suffix. Now, the next complication with Hungarian is a form of address. Now, in English, we have one form of address, and it's actually even simpler than that because we say you. You can be one person, or it can be multiple people. and it doesn't matter, there's no formal or informal. Now, if you speak French, if you know that they have vous and tu. They have formal and informal. In Hungarian, not only do you have formal and informal, but you have multiple forms of formal. So you have the informal. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back. Okay, I wanted to start with gender. Okay, let me start with gender. In Hungarian, we don't have gendered nouns and pronouns. So the word for she and the word for he are the same word. It's that single letter And so if you are speaking with somebody who's Hungarian, who a native Hungarian, they often confuse he and she because there's no distinction in Hungarian. And furthermore, the nouns don't have gender. So in French, you have two genders, and you have to remember, if you want to speak French correctly, you have to remember which genders, different nouns have. So for example, in French, a table is feminine, la table, and a cat is masculine, le chat. And I don't know why that is, but it is. And there's a wrong way and a right way to say it. Supposedly in German, you have three genders. You have masculine, feminine, and neuter. Steve, you speak German? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Russian also has three genders.
Mhm.
And most of the Germanic languages have three genders. I think Spanish, French, Italian only have two.
Well, it's something that as a native speaker you don't think about because it's just automatic. As somebody who's trying to learn how to speak a language, it's a lot of work, and you make a lot of mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes are humorous. Okay, then now we can get into form of address. So in French, again, English, we have the word you, which is used for everything: singular, plural, formal, and informal. In French, as we said, you have tu, vous, and tu. I guess English used to have thee and thou, but that's disappeared. So now we only have you. But in Hungarian, you have multiple form. You have the informal, which is te, and you have the informal singular, which is te, and the informal plural, which is ti. But you also have the formal singular, which is either maga or ön, and that's the third person singular, or else you have the third person plural, which is maguk and önök. And the thing that's weird, if you learn Hungarian as a foreign language, is that it's the same word as the third person singular, which is him or them. So it gives a very bizarre form of distance, because if you're addressing somebody in a formal fashion, it feels like you're saying, how is he feeling? What does he want? And not you, no, what do you want? What does he want? Like, who are you talking to? I'm right here. But that's how it feels because it's the same word. And so they have two forms of formal address, the maga and the ön, which are similar and they're conjugated the same, but they're not identical. And so to speak Hungarian well, you have to know when you use one and when you use the other, and you can make mistakes, or you can insult people by using the wrong one, and there's lots of variation there. And then there's a super polite form, which is used by children when they're speaking to elders. Also, for example, sometimes servants or salespeople, and in cases where there's an extreme difference in rank. And then instead of saying, for example, how is he feeling, you would say, how does it please you to feel? And it's very convoluted and extremely formal, and that is often preceded by the greeting, I kiss your hand. So a child would say to an elder person, chokolom a kezed, which means I kiss your hand, and then he would say what he wants to say using this extremely formal, convoluted form. Now, another factor in speaking Hungarian is this thing called vowel harmony. So as I showed you before, there's lots and lots of vowels, and some have accents to distinguish them, but the vowels are grouped into two kinds of vowels. They're the front vowels and the back vowels, and they are, as it says here, the back vowels are made in the back of the mouth and have a deeper sound, and the front vowels are higher pitched and create it at the front of the mouth. Okay, that's the physiology of how these things are made. So the back vowels are a, o, u, and I is kind of a different, is in parentheses because it can be either one.
Mhm.
But the front vowels are e, u. And so the reason this is important is because when you're adding the suffixes and the prefixes, you have to make sure that you add the correct suffix or prefix that is in the same category. So for example, here's the word joy, which is urum, and we're adding the nek, N-E-K, because it means for joy, like I'm jumping for joy. So urum is a front vowel, so it takes N-E-K as a suffix. Urum becomes urum nek. And bolond, which is a back vowel example, takes N-A-K because the A is also a back vowel. So E is a front vowel, A is a back vowel, and that's harmonizes with the other words, with the other vowel in the root word. And that's just the way it's done. And if you use the wrong, you say urum nok or bolond nek, you're making a mistake. And, you know, it doesn't mean that people can't understand what you're saying, but it's a mistake. So similarly here we have glass, you know, so if something is made from glass, you would say uveg and uvegböl. And if it's made from paper, you would say papier and papierbol, because that is an example of vowel harmony. Now, let's see, word order, I think. Yeah. Another factor is that word order is very flexible. So typically the thing that you have, the thing that you're trying to emphasize, that word comes at the beginning of a sentence. So here are variations on the phrase Eva szereti a virágokat. Eva likes flowers. But if you want to say that, for example, maybe somebody has just said to you, Eva doesn't like flowers, and you want to say, no, that's not correct. Eva likes flowers. You would say szereti Eva a virágokat. You would put szereti in front of Eva. If you want to say that Eva likes flowers and not something else, you would say Eva a virágokat szereti. You would put now virag, which is flower, in front of like, and so on. All these things mean variations of Eva liking flowers, and the exact meaning of the phrase depends on how the word order. And that's something which is in English. I think word order is much less flexible, much less variable. Okay, and then we have definite and indefinite objects. And this is something that trips up non-native speakers, and even, I mean, I'm not really a native speaker. My Hungarian is full of flaws, and I get confused with this all the time, and I make mistakes with this all the time. And so, for example, if you are reading a book, which is any book, doesn't matter, it's not a specific book, but it's just a book. I am reading a book, and I haven't told you which one yet. You would say that's a indefinite object, and you would say olvasok egy könyvet. But if you want to specify which book you're reading, it's the book that you gave me. That's the book I'm reading. You would say olvasom azt a könyvet. So that instead of okay, it's om. And that's because it's the difference between definite and indefinite. And I think this is a distinction that really doesn't exist grammatically in English. You would then describe, you would have, make a phrase that says, oh, I'm reading that specific book you gave me. That's the one I'm reading. Or you would say, I'm reading a book because I have time to kill. Similar, and in addition to having the correct, in this case, K versus M, you also have to respect the vowel harmony. So this is the back vowel, and here's the front vowel. We are eating some soup, eszünk levest, which means just any old soup. And if you want to say we are eating the soup that you cooked, which is that specific soup, we would say eszük azt a levest. And instead of UNK, we have UK. And so these are things which come naturally to people who speak well, and are very difficult for people who don't speak. And in particular, this concept is very tricky because it's something that really doesn't exist in English. Now, as Joe said, and I don't, did you know this before, Joe, or did you read it in my slide? I'm curious about that. You're muted, Joe.
Please repeat the question. I think I know what you're getting at. Say it again.
Well, you said earlier on that you are aware that Hungarian is a phonetic language, and I'm just curious whether you knew that beforehand or you just happened to notice it on my slide.
I just picked it up as I was looking at it, and
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, just today looking at the
I see.
words.
Okay, well, it's totally
Mhm.
true. And in fact, Hungarian has about 65 to 70 phonemes, and it's almost perfectly phonetic and regular.
Yeah.
And it's very,
Oh,
very
it had to
few-
do with the three different versions of D. Yeah, like I think, yeah, when you were talking about the alphabet, that's right. That's when I said it. Yeah.
Okay.
It helps you pronounce it. Yeah. Mm.
And so there's very, very few exceptions. And in fact, the exceptions that you run into, I think, are typically words that are borrowed from other languages and not sort of, traditional Hungarian
Oh.
words.
Oh.
And so, by
Mm.
contrast, English has many, many, many irregularities and exceptions, which makes it very hard to learn to speak good English. And so here's a joke. I don't know if anybody has ever seen this joke before. How do you spell fish? The answer is G-H-O-T-I. The G-H is F as in laugh. The O is I as in women. And the T-I is sh as in station. So G-H-O-T-I is fish, right? Also in Hungarian, the accent is always on the first syllable, so that makes it also easier to pronounce. So the point of saying this is that if you know the rules, and there's not that many of them, you can read Hungarian totally intelligibly without understanding at all what you're saying. There's a few tricky sounds, so let's maybe practice some of these sounds. The GY, which is a combination letter, is pronounced Dieu, like the French word for God. So let's go around the room and let's have people say that sound, okay? So maybe Judy. And unmute yourselves, please.
Yeah.
Good. Carol?
Yeah.
Okay, try again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, better. Joe?
I'm not good with languages.
Joe?
Yeah.
Try it again.
We're down at
We're saying-
God, or are we up at the top?
No, we're
Okay.
here. We're saying the word Dieu, like French for God.
Yeah. That's Dieu.
Good. That's good. That's exactly how it's pronounced. Okay, and
Dieu.
Mary Beth?
Yeah.
Good, perfect. Now, this ZS is a combination letter, and that's je. And I can't think of an English word that uses a je like that, so I call it a buzzing Z, like a Z kind of morphing into a J. So let's go around the room and try that sound. Judy?
Yeah.
No. We're trying to say je now.
Yeah.
Good. Carol?
Je.
Yeah. Joe?
Je. Je.
Good. Mary Beth?
It also sounds French. Je. Right?
It is actually. It's like the first person singular. Je. I am.
Je.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay. Now this one is and it's kind of like the U in hurry, but it's maybe stretched out a little bit. So let's try to say That's the O with the umlaut on it. Judy? Yeah. Carol? Yeah. Joe? Yeah. Mary Beth? Okay. And the last one is U, like in salut, which is French again. It's kind of U. Let's say that. Judy? Carol?
You.
Joe?
You.
And Mary,
You.
Mary Beth.
Ooh.
Okay. So, it's close. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's close enough. And the great thing is that when you know these sounds, you can speak Hungarian, even if you don't know what you're saying. So what I've done here is I've written some Hungarian as if it was English and using some of these sounds. And so we're going to say head is fej, val is val. I mean, no, head is fej, Shoulders is val. Knees is terd. Toes is labui. Eyes is sem. Ears is ful. Mouth is sai. Nose is or. Hand is ish. So let's go around the room and try to say these words. And here it is, kind of written as in English. Go ahead and try to say them. Go ahead, Judy.
Well, it almost looks like it's 2 syllables the way it's written there, but you said it like 1 syllable.
Right.
Fair.
Say it as 1 syllable. The plus doesn't mean 2 syllables. Say it as 1 syllable. Exactly.
Fair.
Yeah. Next.
Me.
No,
Val.
go ahead. Yeah. Next.
Val.
Yeah.
Terd.
Yeah.
Labuya.
Yeah. Good. Next.
Sem.
Yeah.
Ful.
Yeah.
Steya.
Sai.
Sai.
Mhm.
Ur.
Yeah.
Esh.
Ish.
Ish.
Ish. That's A.
Ish.
This is like you're like Canadians who say A all the time, right? Ish.
Okay. Ish.
Okay. Carol, go ahead. Why don't you try?
Can you say them again?
Oh, sure, of course. Fei, val, herd, labui, sem, ful, sai, or, ish.
Okay. Fey, Val, Tord, Labouge, Sem, Full, Sai, or Aish.
Okay, great. Joe?
Fey, no, Fey, yeah, I want to pronounce both. Fey, Vale, Ted, Labouye, Labouye, yeah.
Yeah.
Sem, Foo, yeah, we're on the W. And Saya, Ore, Aish.
Okay, this is interesting because everybody wants to pronounce the E, and I didn't really mean it for it to be pronounced. Maybe I should take the E off.
Sai.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah.
Okay, I got it, yeah.
Okay. Mary Beth, go ahead.
Okay. Fe, val, terd, labuye, labuya. I don't remember.
Labui.
Lovely.
Sem, ful, sai, o, and s.
Ish.
Ish.
Ish. Like the Canadian A. Ish. Ish.
Ish.
Okay. So now you know the words. Let's say the whole thing. Let's kind of all say it together. Okay. And we'll go through and I'll point out where I am. So unmute yourselves, please. Steve, you can join in if you want. Okay, here we go. Fey, Val, Ted, Ish, Labui, Ted,
Ish, Labui,
Fey, Val, Ted, Ish, Labui, Ted, Ish, Labui, Ish, Sem, Ish, Ful, Ish, Sai, Ish, or, and the last one, Fey, Val, Ted, Ish, Labui, Ted, Ish, Labui. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that if we were to record one of you guys saying this and play it for a Hungarian person, they would understand. It's good enough to be intelligible. So here are some common phrases, and I'll say them first, and then you can try to read the English and see how you do. I don't speak Hungarian. Nem beszélek magyarul. So who wants to try that?
I will.
Why is the E short now? And before it was long. It was a long A.
Well, this E doesn't have an accent on it. So it's nem,
Oh,
ek. So
yeah,
the-
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, who's gonna try it?
I said I would, but now you have to repeat it because she interrupted and I can't remember what you
I'm
said.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Oh,
Nah.
It's now once removed. I can't remember what you said.
Okay, here we go. Nem beszélek magyarul.
Okay, nem beszélek magyarul.
Okay, good. That's intelligible. Next one. Where is the bathroom? Hol van a mosdó? Hol van a mosdó? Who wants to try it?
Hol van a mosdó.
That's good. That's intelligible. Absolutely. How much does it cost? Mennyibe kerül? Who wants to try that?
Mennyibe kerül.
Good. That's great. That's great. I need a taxi. Kérek egy taxit. Kérek egy taxit.
Kérek egy taxit.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
ooh,
Okay.
that's
That was a trick.
Hit me again, like if you want another drink or if you want another card, if you're playing cards. Kérek még egyet. Kérek még egyet.
me.
Correct. Me, egg. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Ed.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought we were supposed to be able to read them almost the way they look.
Well,
Boy,
you
they-
should. You should. You should read it like it was English. Kérek még egyet. The
No, no, but
DY
I mean the black, the one above it.
Oh,
the
no,
one
the
it-
black. No, the black is the Hungarian spelling.
I understand, but I thought could almost read it from the Hungarian spelling. No, I guess not.
Well, I mean, you can if you know all the rules, but you have to know the difference between the long E and the short E, and you know. Oh yeah, absolutely. This is totally phonetic. Kérek még egyet. You know, it's totally phonetic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm giving you
But
help.
wait. I'm pointing, but you can't see me. Go to the first one. It looks like Magyarul. Where's the G sound?
There is no G
Yeah.
sound because the GY is a combination letter. That's the J, remember? That was one of the tricky ones.
Oh,
It's a combination
Thank
letter. It's not Magyarul, it's
Yeah.
Magyarul.
thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the combination letters are tricky because you want to pronounce them as individual letters because you don't have combination letters in Hungarian.
Yeah.
This is why SZ is a combination letter, and a lot of Hungarian words have SZ in them, but it's not pronounced, you don't pronounce it like a Z. That's actually the soft S. So, for example, the name Laszlo, Laszlo, a lot of, if you see it, you see, oh, there's a Z, and somehow that attracts our attention, and we want to pronounce the Z. So people would say Laszlo, but it's not, it's Laszlo. Okay, so do we want to go back on it over any of these again, or keep on going?
Going.
Okay. I want to go to the embassy. Akarok a követséghez menni. This is a little harder. Akarok a követséghez menni. Who wants to try that hard
Okay.
phrase?
I don't want to try that.
Akarok követséghez
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I would understand it. Okay.
Sheg has been many. I don't
Here's
know
the-
the KEUH one. Ku.
It's k.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
That's the O with the two dots on it is pronounced if you remember
K.
that. That was one of our tricky, that was one of our tricky sounds. Okay. You're cute. Can I go home with you? Aranyos vagy. Hazamehetek veled. Aranyos vagy.
G.
Okay, this is the DY, the J sound, right? Remember?
Vaj, right?
Yeah. Ha, za.
May. I don't know all the rules yet. May.
No. You don't need rules to read the red. To read the red,
Yeah,
try to read it like English. Just look at it.
I don't want to read the red. I'm trying to read the black, and your
Okay.
picture's in the way. Your
Okay.
picture is blocking the end of the sentence for me. Let's
Well,
see.
you can move the picture.
I'm gonna do that now. Okay. I'm on standard. Okay. Speaker. Yeah, okay, it's gonna be small though. Oh, this, okay. Aranyash Baji Hash Zoo? No. Haza?
Huzzah, exactly, yeah.
Haza? May,
Meh.
yeah, Meha? Meha,
It-
I don't like that.
This is-
Mehetek.
Okay, Mehatek.
Exactly, it's
Meh.
all the same E. It's all the same E. Meh,
Okay,
meh, tech.
Mehatek, okay.
And in fact, look at this again, the same E.
Mele.
Yeah, that's it. So, A, Ra, Nyosh, Vaj. You don't pronounce the G, it's Vaj. That's a
Wait,
combination.
wait. All we have to do is give a
Right.
wolf whistle and we don't have to say this. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
okay, that's a
can't
different
whistle.
form of communication, though. You're learning Hungarian now. You're not learning
Yeah.
whistling.
But if we learned all those combination letters, we really have it made.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
combination letters, there's not that many of them.
Yeah.
And it's very phonetic. And when you learn them and you pronounce them correctly, you're speaking Hungarian.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't my fault. Nem az én hibám volt.
Let's see.
Az én hibám volt.
Yeah, good. That was great. And then this is one which I want you to know. It's God is one. So that's the Transylvanian Unitarians who are denying the Trinity. They say there's God is one, he's not three. And they say Egy az Isten. Egy means one, Isten is God. So Egy az Isten.
Edge was Ishton.
Yeah. Let's go around the room. Let's all try this one, okay? Judy, you want to try it?
Edi uz Isten.
Okay. Carol, you're muted still, Carol. You can leave yourself unmuted.
Ed uz Isten.
It's Egy az Isten.
Ed az Isten.
Good, perfect. Joe?
Edge was Ishton.
So
Edge was Ishton.
this is a single sound. It's Edge.
Edge.
Ed.
That's right. Edge was Ishton.
Okay, great.
Eh.
So now, this is one of the songs. It's actually song number 1043 in the songbook. And this is called the Transylvanian or the House Blessing. And we actually have an embroidery of the original Hungarian and then a translation into English in the Partner Church Corner Library. And Jim Blanton in particular sang this many times. These are all from different services. So let's, I'm going to play a couple of them. And what Jim did, and Stearns did the same thing, was he learned how to say the Hungarian, and it's very, very good. So let me just play it and drag it over. Okay, so that was Jim. Whoops. That was Jim singing, where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need. So the translation is a little different, but that's essentially it. And now I'm going to scroll over to where he's singing the exact same thing in the original Hungarian.
Sounds Hebrew.
Well, he was singing in English. Oh, you mean the tune?
The tune, the whole
Yeah.
shebang. Yeah, the feel of it is very
Yeah,
Hebrew.
you're right. You're right
Yeah.
about that. You're
Yeah.
right. Let's see if I can find him singing in Hungarian. And that was very cool because Jim was singing in Hungarian and Allison in the congregation was singing in English, and all kind of blended together. I wish I could find the one where Stearns is singing because he does such a great job. And there's one where he sings by himself, and I don't have it prepared, do I? No, that's Jim again.
You can rename a YouTube link. I suppose you can't, huh?
Well, I mean,
I've
this
never
is-
tried.
not really. I mean, this is the actual URL.
Oh, okay.
You can rename it. Let's
Mm,
no. Or maybe it's on the next slide. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Okay, this is a different song, but Stearns is not singing that one. He's singing number 352, Find the Stillness. And let's have a look at that.
mm.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Meg pihenni, meg nyugodni, hozzájöttünk Istenünk, mert a harcban újabb erőt csak te nálad lehetünk. Bűnös fejünk porba hajtva, megremegve s megnyugodva, tekintünk rád, Istenünk.
That's
Nice.
Stearns. He does
Did
such
you
a great
help
job.
him?
But no, I
Got
didn't.
bored.
No, I
He
didn't.
just did it on his own, learned that?
Probably somebody else helped him. I mean, maybe he did it by himself. I don't know that, but I mean, he did such a great job. I mean, really, it was beautifully
Beautiful.
done. And the thing I find interesting about this particular song is that our words are quite a bit different in feel, because find the stillness, hold the stillness, all the I will find true harmony. It's it's kind of uplifting. The original is very, very different. And here's my approximate translation. We approach you, our Lord, with our sinful heads bowed in the dust. So it's much more sort of the traditional angry God kind of a thing than our song. But anyway, it's very cool what Stearns did.
Mm.
I'm watching the clock and I hate to leave. This went very quickly for me. Time flies when you're having fun. I have to say that, and I really, really appreciate this. And don't stop because of me, because you've got a nice captive audience here. But
Well,
thank you so much.
let's take a vote. Let's take a vote. If people are feeling a little saturated, we can just continue on another day. It doesn't have to be all done at once. I mean, I don't mind doing that. And maybe it's a lot to take in. So maybe everybody wants to stop now and we'll do another half hour, 45 minutes some other day. I mean, that's fine with me. What do you think? Or does everyone want to keep going?
I came in absolutely exhausted and now I'm energized.
Do you want to keep going or do you want to stop? Do you want to keep going?
I mean, no more than another half hour. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to learn a lot, but I'm enjoying what I am getting out of it. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I can keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep going because Judy, I'm going to be repeating this probably for the partner church committee anyway. There'll be a reprise and you can join us for that one.
How do you
Well,
think?
let me know. I'm sorry I'm leaving and I'm making. All right.
Okay.
No
Enjoy,
problem.
everybody. Talk
Thank
to you
you.
another time. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.
Sounds great. Thanks for joining us.
So how do we say we're on a roll in Hungarian?
Gurulunk. We can say Gurulunk. We are on a roll. Gurulunk.
Gurulum. Gurulum. Okay. Gurulum.
Okay.
All right.
So in addition to translating Transylvanian songs into English, like Find the Stillness, and the other one was the 1043, whatever. Anyway, the point is that some of our UU songs have been translated to English. I mean, translated from English into Hungarian. And here's an example of Let It Be a Dance in this Unitarian, Hungarian Unitarian magazine called Unitarius Élet, which means Unitarian Life. And here is Tükör alatt világosabban. So Tükör alatt means under the mirror with light, something like that. And so let me show you the words that they use, or the translation they gave in this. For this is Let It Be a Dance, okay? So I don't have the original words for Let It Be a Dance, but we all know it, I'm sure. Legyen tánc kedvesem, járnad veled kettesben. The reason I have these arrows here, because I think the translation is wrong. Híven jobban rosszban lennél partnerem, legyen tánc. Legyen tánc zeneszó, legyen dal messze hallható. Madár gyanánat ég felé szárnyaló, legyen tánc. Köves, vezess, vigyázz a mozgásunk ritmusára, vágy szomjasan vetésre, áradásra, legyen tánc. Mind járjunk készen, kérengeni, hajlongani, serényen. Szomorú fűz, ágak gyanánt a szélben, legyen tánc. I won't read any more of this, but this is Let It Be a Dance, translated into Hungarian. And somewhere I thought I had it sung in Hungarian. Maybe I don't. What do I have here? Let It Be a Dance. Let me just click on this. See if this plays.
Legyen egy tánc.
No, that's just me saying the words. That's just me saying the words. What's this?
Ah.
Oh, no. That's in English. All right. Well, somewhere, I'm sure there's an MP3 of people singing this in Hungarian.
It's a great way to learn it by singing, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's something that just works easier when you're singing it than when you're just reading it.
So what I want to show you next is this is something I prepared when not the most recent trip to Transylvania, but quite a few years ago now. And this was 5 different songs. And first was Spirit of Life. And not the whole thing, but just the first where, oh yeah, here we go. It starts to appear. So Spirit, can people see this, or do I need to make it bigger? Maybe I should make it
bigger would help. But
yeah.
It's small.
Better. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe we should try to read this in Hungarian. So Spirit of Life, and see the funny thing is, I have in green, I have the English written as if it was Hungarian. So people who are Hungarian could actually do the same thing in the other direction. They could read this like Hungarian, it would come out sort of like English. So let me try to do that. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. So it's it's English. I mean, you can understand it. It's kind of funny, I guess. But that's how your Hungarian sounds, to them. So here it is written in Hungarian script, and correctly, and here it is written as if it was English. So maybe I'll read it once, and then or we can do it together. Élet lelke jöjj el hozzánk. So let's try that together.
Lelke jöjj el hozzánk.
Right. That's good. Okay. Áld meg szívünk minden őszinte részvét.
Elden megszívunk minden őszinte
Részvét, yeah.
részvét.
And so if you're interested, I have a file I can share with everybody. This is me reading all these things.
Legyen egy tánc, kedvesem,
And you can,
járnád ezt a tánct velem. Jó időkben, rossz időkben is. Legyen tánc.
wait a minute. I got things mixed up. This is Spirit of Life, not Let It Be a Dance. This is Spirit of Life. Here's Let It Be a Dance. Sorry.
Okay,
Here's Let It Be a Dance. Let me make this bigger.
yeah, that's, okay.
There we go. So let it be a dance we do. Okay. Legyen egy tánc, kedvesem. Let's try that.
Legyen egy tánc, kedvesem.
Járnád ezt a tánct velem.
Járnád ezt a tánct velem.
Yeah. So here it is. This is a file that where did I put it? God, I'm lost it now. Oh, I just played here.
Legyen egy tánc, zene szó.
Let me start over
Legyen
again.
dal, legyen egy tánc, kedvesem. Járnád ezt a tánct velem. Jó időkben, rossz időkben is. Legyen tánc. Legyen egy tánc, zene szó. Legyen dal, messze hallható. Madár gyanánt, ég felé szárnyaló. Legyen tánc, legyen tánc, legyen tánc.
So my point is that these files exist. I can share them with people, and you can, play them as many times as you want to. You can play one line and stop and try to, duplicate it. And it's just a way to learn it. We, can't spend too much time on it here, but if you want to go forward with it a little bit, all these things exist. So we have it for Spirit of Life. Where did I put the list? I'm looking for my list. Oh, here it is. So I have Spirit of Life.
Élet, lelke, jöjj el hozzánk.
And then I have Find a Stillness, which is the one that Jim Blanton was singing. Let's see, Find a Stillness. Here it is.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness.
I want the Hungarian.
Megpihenni, megnyugodni. Hozzád jöttünk, Istenünk. Bűnös fejünk porba.
So that's Find a Stillness. Now, as I said, I had prepared these 5 songs for a trip. So I was there with Tom McGinnis and Amor McGinnis, and my sister and myself, and also this woman that had been our nanny, that Hungarian woman, and she came along with us to the partner church. So it was a great scene because we were there at a service, and I told the minister that we'd like to, at the end of his at the regular service, we'd like to sing a little bit. And so he said, okay, that's fine. So he told the congregation that our American visitors would like to sing for us. So we sang, for example, Spirit of Life. We start with Spirit of Life, and we sang it in English. Everybody says, oh, that's nice. And then we sang it again in Hungarian, and everybody was like really impressed. And then we did that with Let It Be a Dance, Find a Stillness. I don't know if we did them all, but then we did number 4, which is called the Secular Anthem, which is the Transylvanian national anthem, not the Hungarian national anthem, but the Transylvanian national anthem. This is the part of Romania where Hungarians had been oppressed and everything. And when we sang it, you know, in Hungarian, people jumped to their feet and started singing it with us. And afterwards, people came and said, you know, this is amazing because, you know, 10 years ago, you weren't allowed to sing this song. You know, you would have been put in jail for singing this song because it's considered subversive. And then we're, you know, what a wonderful thing it is that, you know, you could come and sing it for us. And I'd like to just play it for you because it's kind of cool. Let me find it.
Ki tudja merre.
No, that's not song. That's the, oh, okay. Let's try this. No. And you can follow along on the screen. So that's the Transylvanian national anthem, and you know, I think it's pretty beautiful actually. I like it. And I think that woman does a pretty good job singing it. So I don't think we actually want to sing a song ourselves, do we?
It's a gentle anthem. It doesn't, there are no bullets flying and bombs dropping.
You know, that's actually a good point, that it's kind of it's not a very martial sounding.
Not at all. It's very peaceful sounding.
Yeah, it is peaceful. It's actually kind of depressing if you look at what it's you know, singing about. It's all about, you know, loss, but yeah, it is beautiful. And this is the house blessing that Stearns was singing. So these 5 things, you know, I'll share all this stuff with you. And if you would, you know, if you would like to actually learn to sing these, I'm happy to coach anybody who wants to take the you know, time and effort to do it. And so the last thing I want to do is invite us to do a group activity, not here right now, but I'd like to potentially do, if anybody's interested in doing it, is to have like a little short message, you know, a paragraph, a few sentences, nothing, you know, nothing extensive. And, you know, we could all collaborate on writing a little short message. You know, like, we are the Hungarian class of, you know, MUUF, and then we greet you, you know, or whatever. And then I would have it translated. I wouldn't translate it myself. I'd ask my teacher to do it because I don't think my translation would be really good enough. But I would have it translated in excellent Hungarian, and then we could all learn to speak it, and you know, we could all read it and record it and send it off. I think it'd be kind of a fun little activity. And then maybe Diane Kozlow could actually deliver it, you know, when she's there in August and she meets with him on a USB stick or something. So would you guys like to you know, do that? Is that something, sounds like something you'd like to do?
Well, if you took it at a pace that wasn't any faster than tonight,
Well,
or maybe a little slower.
well, the first step is to write the greeting, though. Okay, the greeting is in English first.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, a few sentences, a paragraph, you know, nothing long, and then I would have it translated, and then the last part of the exercise would be to learn to speak it in Hungarian.
And oh, it'd be speaking, not singing, right?
Not singing, no, speaking.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could make an educational tape for us to practice it, or a video.
I would. Oh, no, I would definitely do it. But
Yeah.
after it's translated, I would do the exact same thing. I would speak it very slowly and make an MP3 and that I would share, and people go over it as many times as you want to. And then eventually, and I could do some personal one-on-one coaching. And then eventually, when people feel ready, then we would, you know, record the final you know, as many takes as it takes, I guess.
Other people might be interested though, so you probably should open this up if you're gonna do it.
Well, I think that, yeah, okay, but I think as far as writing the greeting, I think it should be the four of us, or the five of us who were in this class. And then if people want to join in, you know, I guess they could do that. I mean, for example, possibly people in the Partner Church Committee might want to join in, maybe even, you know, Nick or Joel or whoever.
We'll lead it.
We'll lead it, exactly.
Sounds good. It sounds good.
Okay, well, we need somebody to kick it off, though. I mean, the way this kind of thing works is somebody starts with, you know, a draft and then people comment on it. So would somebody like to volunteer to do the first, you know, the end result might be something that's very different, but we have to start somewhere. So would somebody like to take a shot at it?
Well, Steve looks like a good candidate.
You volunteer, Steve, huh?
I'm volunteered. I could put something together in English,
All right, okay.
that talks about, you know, greetings from the partner church and the Hungarian service auction, or something like that. And,
All right, okay.
you know, we wish you a peaceful and something. I'll come up with something.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, and then send it to everybody who was on the email, this invitation. And we'll take it from there, see how it goes.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
No problem.
And we can revise it.
Oh, yeah, we'll revise it
Yeah.
ad infinitum like Unitarians always do.
So you're gonna have 5 proofers,
Yeah,
5
well,
editors.
I'm sure eventually we'll converge on something, you know, we'll
Yeah.
eventually get tired of changing it.
Yeah.
Are there any questions, anything else people would like to talk about or cover or whatever before we go?
Does anyone know Russian? A little bit?
I tried to,
I took Russian in college.
I took a little bit in adult night school about 45 years ago, and I remember because of my kids' ages at the time. And I found it was very phonetic as well.
But there
And
you have the problem of the Cyrillic alphabet. You don't have Roman letters, so you have to learn
Yeah,
those
it's based
first.
off of Greek.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
It's
we
based off of
did.
Greek.
Well, I'm trying to remember. I'm not too sure. I can't remember if she had him in the Roman or not.
no, it must have been Cyrillic, must have been Cyrillic.
I just don't remember.
I just realized I have to go. I have to call a granddaughter before she goes to bed. It's her birthday.
Okay,
So I just realized that.
Okay.
I only remember one thing. Dos
good having you,
Vidania.
Mary Beth, thank you.
Thank you. So, okay, I'll be on the email.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember Dos
Thank
Vidania.
you, Gabor.
It means goodbye, or see you again, till we see you
Thank you.
again.
That was fun. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna go too. I haven't eaten yet.
I
Okay,
haven't had a really long day.
Okay,
I'm
well,
exhausted.
Thank you for
Okay.
participating and for buying the event, and
Yeah, thank you.
look forward
Okay.
to the activity that we described. That'll be
Great.
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
very welcome.
Okay, where am I? I tried to.
Okay, I'll just.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I see.
Thanks, Gabor.
You keep disappearing. Okay, there.
Thanks
Whoop.
for having me.